Today we're talking about multiplying integers, and I need you to pay attention to this lesson because it might seem like it's, whoa, isn't it the same as adding and subtracting integers? And the answer is no. So make sure you're paying attention because there are two rules, but they are not the same as the addition-subtraction rules. So make sure, like I said, you're paying attention. All right, so we're going to talk about the rules for multiplying integers. There are two. The first one is found on the bottom of page 99. Can anyone read that for me? On the bottom of page 99, multiplying integers with different signs. So read that for me. Sarah? Yeah, the product of two integers with the same sign is negative. Same sign, negative. All right, what are we referring to when we say the product? The product of two integers. Oh, wow, no. That is incorrect. Is it different signs or same signs? Different. Ah, that's why. Okay, I apologize. Before I get to that, this is the first rule. Different signs. I apologize. I was wrong. So the product of two integers with different signs is negative. Okay. How many of you knew that rule? Product of two numbers being multiplied if they have different signs, it's going to give you a negative answer. Okay, good. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice that a little bit, and then I'm going to see if you guys can do it on your own. So let's look at example 1 on the next page, and they give us A and B.
Wait, is there another two?
Yeah, the second rule is going to come later.
Right.
Yep, thank you for asking. So M equals negative 5 times 18. Negative 5 times 18. Okay, now what does it say to do in this example? What do the instructions on this example say to do here? It says to, yes ma'am? Solve each equation. So my answer has to have what in it?
A negative sign.
Okay, it's going to have a negative sign. What else is it going to have? It has to have this. If it says solve this equation, it has to have a equal sign with the variable in it. Okay, so you got to have this. M equals something because you're solving for M. And somebody said it was negative. How do you know it's negative? Yeah, the rule we just went over. Two integers. Are these two integers? Yes. Do they have different signs?
Yeah.
So your product has to be negative. All right, and then all you have to do really is what's 5 times 18? Now, some of you could do in your head. Some of you need to write it down. It doesn't matter. Make sure you work it out and get it. So 40, 90. Okay, how many got negative 90? Or you would have gotten M equals negative 90. Okay, does that make sense? So, do you know how to multiply? I hope so. Do you know that opposite signs or different signs when you're multiplying give you a negative? And that's the first rule. That's the whole idea of that first rule of these problems. Yes, ma'am?
So it doesn't go with like the larger number.
Very good. Yeah. Remember when you're dealing with addition, and actually let's do a little review. So please listen to my words here. Okay, if you are adding two numbers with opposite signs or different signs, what's the sign of the sum? It's a tough question. Ready? If you're adding two numbers with opposite signs, what is the sign of the sum?
The one with the larger number.
Good. It's the sign of the larger absolute value. So do we have to worry about absolute value here? Nope. You just negative times a positive. Boom, it's a negative. That easy. That nice. Okay. B. 6 times negative 12. B. 6 times negative 12 equals N. What must be in my answer? N. Yeah, N. Something equals N, or N equals something. All right. Is my answer going to be positive or negative, and why?
Negative. Negative because different signs.
Okay, so when you have two numbers with different signs, negative. Now, do you notice I keep emphasizing two numbers? That's important because are you only going to have problems with two factors? No, and we'll get to that in just a bit. What is 6 times 12 though?
7.
Okay, a lot of you knew that. It's great. So negative 72 equals n, or n equals negative 72. All right, let me ask this question here. How many of you, sorry about that, how many of you know your 12's timetable? So you got 12 times 1 all the way to 12 times 12. You know them all. Okay, I would say maybe close to half. Close to half. 12 times 6.
72.
Phew, how'd you know that? Oh, you just did it. Now, what do you think it takes for you to get 12 times 6 down in your mind, ingrained, stored, and ready to come out whenever necessary? Just say it over and over again. Write it down, say it, do something on the computer to help you to memorize those facts. Ready? 12 times 9.
108.
Okay, I heard maybe like 5 people say it. 12 times 9. 108. 12 times 9. 12 times 9. 12 times 8. 96. How many of you knew 12 times 8? Okay. 12 times 11.
132.
Okay, I heard most of you say 132, 132. Okay. If you don't know your 12s, I would recommend you memorize them. And here's a little reason. I had a 8th grader I was helping out last week. She just asked for some help, so yeah, sure, I can help. Her work was amazing. Her understanding of the process is excellent. But what she was missing was this. 8 times 6. I don't know that one. And that was it. If she would have known what 8 times 6 was, the whole process runs smoothly. If you know your multiplication facts, no matter how complex I get this year, you're going to be able to nail it down very well. Okay? How many of you know all your multiplication facts? 1 times 1 to 12 times 12. Okay? If you're not there, there's hope. But you better do it now before it gets to the part where this is only one little step in the whole problem you have to do. And I'm telling you, I want to make things easier for you. And I'll actually figure out some ways to do that. So I'm going to help you out as much as I can, but help yourself out as well. Okay, any questions on these problems right here? Pretty good? You guys good on these? Oh my. Let's go to page 102, and I want you to work out 3 problems for me to make sure you guys get this. Page 102, do 5, 6, and 8. Do it in that order. 5, then 6, then 8. And when you're done with those problems, you can go back to your notes and put in the second rule that we'll look at today. So 5, then 6, then 8. And when you're all done with that, write the second rule down in your notes, and we'll get into that after we check these real quick. Yeah, write this down, then you can kind of wait. And I'll give you just a few more moments. Okay, you can still work on number 8, especially because that one's a little bit tougher. But number 5, let me ask this question here. Do you need to have a variable for 5, 6, and 8?
No.
Why not?
Because there is no variable.
There is no variable, and did they tell me to solve?
No.
No, they say state whether it's the product is positive or negative, then find the product. Nothing to solve, you just give me a number. So no variables necessary. Look at 20 to 31 though. Do you need a variable? Yes, because it says solve. Boom. You automatically know there's got to be a variable. All right, but anyway, number 5. Someone raise their hand. Give me what number 5 is, Betsy.
I got negative 56.
Negative 56 is correct. How many of you got that? Negative 56. Can I ask somebody how long it took them to get that answer? Once they wrote it down or looked at it, how long did it take you to get that answer as best you can? I don't think any of you timed yourselves. Click, click, got it. But what do you think? Yeah, Nick?
3 seconds.
3 seconds maybe, okay? About that much time, plus or minus 2 seconds? I don't know. Do you think it'd be nice you think you would do so well, or you would really enjoy it if it took you 20 seconds to do number 5? You really think that'd be great? That'd be sad. Wouldn't it be hard? Man, number 5. Got it. That's 20 seconds. That's nice. That's about 20 seconds right there. Okay, that took me too long. Memorize your facts. Number 6. Who has an answer for number 6? Davis. Negative 45. Did you guys get negative 45? Yes? I got negative 45. Good, good. Uh-oh. Did I tell you to do number 8? Oh, man, we didn't even talk about... I'm so sorry, guys. I gave you... That's a negative times a negative. I'm so sorry. Sarah, do you forgive me for doing that to you guys? Did you get number 8?
Yeah.
What'd you get for number 8?
Positive 456.
It is positive. How many of you got positive so far?
I got the wrong math.
The number's a little off.
Okay.
All right, but what'd you get for the actual absolute value? So positive blah. Matt? Getting there. You guys getting there. Cole? 1,995 is positive. Now, if you did not get that, do you know what happened?
No, not really.
Okay. So I'm going to work out the problem real quick. Just make sure I do it right. So 35 times 57. Now, how many of you worked it out like this? Raise your hand if you worked it out just the way I did it. How many of you worked it out flipped? Like 57 times 35. Okay? Oh, see, that was it. I probably threw you off, right? Well, what says you're allowed to multiply in any order? Commutative property. So whether you worked it out like this or flipped, you should still get the same answer at the end. All right, but let's see what happened. So stay with me here. What's 5 times 7?
35.
Isn't that a math fact?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's 7 times 3? 21 plus 3? Place value holder. What's 5 times 5? What's 5 times 3? Oh, that's good. 5 times 3? 15 plus 2? 17. You're adding these partial products, and you should get 1995. How do you know it's positive, though? We didn't even talk about that. That's the hard part. Josh?
Well, if the product is 2 integers, 2 with the different signs is negative, and then the second one. So
Nice. Good, good. So you're using a little bit of rationale there. The product of 2 integers with the same sign is...
positive.
Okay, ready? Verbalize with me here. What's a positive times a positive?
Positive.
Positive. You guys good with that? What's a negative times a negative?
Positive.
Positive. Ready? You guys listening to me? Okay. What's a positive plus a positive?
Positive.
Positive. What's a negative plus a negative?
Negative.
Negative. Ready? Here it is. What's a positive plus a negative?
Depends.
Sorry, what's a negative plus a positive? I mean, what's a positive plus a negative?
It depends on the number.
Good, it depends. Which one has the higher absolute value? Okay, and then subtraction, you switch it to addition, then you can figure that out. So in addition, can you make really definite rules for addition for every single problem? Kind of. But do you see how these are very defined? 2 numbers that have opposite signs, your product is going to be... Let me say that again. Some of you lost. When you're multiplying 2 numbers with opposite signs or different signs, your product is going to be negative. If they have the same sign, positive. That's it. That's all you have to know. Do you need anything with absolute value? No, you don't. It's just that straightforward. Okay, let's go back to example number 2 on the bottom page 100. M equals negative 8 times negative 15. Okay, so 2a, m equals negative 8 times negative 15. Okay, positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. Automatically it's positive. M equals some positive number, and then you multiply 15 times 8. And you get 120. M equals 120. M equals 120. 15 times 6 would be 90. Yep. That's all right. Oh, and then I look at example number 2b, and I'm a little bit... Wait, what's the difference between B and A and really any of the other problems we've done already? What's the difference between B and all the other problems? They have more numbers being multiplied, more factors. Okay, so let's see if you were paying attention. Have we talked about the rules for 3 numbers that are being multiplied? Haven't talked about them. Have we talked about the ones with 5 numbers? 7? 100? Okay, we'll get to those. How do you think I handle that here then? 3 numbers. I only talked about rules with 2. Raise your hand, raise your hand. How do I deal with it? There are really a couple ways you can think of it. There's going to be a correct way of doing it. Chelsea? So, like, explain. What would be the sign of this product? Oh, okay. Is that what you're going to say, kind of, Davis? Okay, why is it negative?
You have two numbers in the same positive, but then you have positive and negative.
Okay, so this is what he's doing. I think, Chelsea, you brought this up too. On this problem, you're going to multiply the first 2 numbers if you want. And what's a negative times a negative? Positive. What's 7 times 5? 35. And then you're going to multiply by that negative 4. And what's a positive times a negative? Negative. And 35 times 4? Yes, negative 140 equals Q. But is there any other way you could have worked this one out? What do you think? Maybe? I don't know. Cole?
Well, just like, if there's, so in this one we have 3 numbers, and that's an odd number. And so if you have, for all the problems with the odd numbers, if they have the same sign, it's going to be negative, and then if they have the same sign, and it's even numbers, then it'll be positive.
Okay, you're starting to get to what I'm going to get to in a little bit. Good. Okay, I see what you're thinking. Could I have worked it negative 4 times negative 5 first? What's that? Positive 20 times negative 7? So whatever way you work it, because of which property that we love so much? Commutative. You can work it out any other way. But Cole, you actually brought up a good point. I'm going to give you now a multiplication problem with no numbers, just signs, and you're going to give me the sign of the product, okay? So what is a negative times a negative? Okay, how many of you say it's a positive? Good. It is a positive because of the rule, right? 2 numbers with the same sign, positive. All right, what's a negative times a negative times a negative going to be? Negative. Because of what we just worked out here. Negative, negative, negative. 3 negatives being multiplied, negative. What's a negative times a negative times a negative times a negative? Positive. Oh, wait, what's going on here? Okay, ready? What's a negative times a negative? Positive. What's a positive times a negative? Negative times a negative. So we got our positive there, right? Regardless of the numbers. So Cole, you got to what we were trying to say here, but I'm going to throw something after that. Does anyone see what the rule is when multiplying negative numbers? It does switch back and forth. How can you describe it to us if we've never shown these examples? How can you kind of like say something about the generalization of that rule? Laura?
Maybe like
Okay, and specifically this. When I have an even number of negatives, I'm going to get a positive result, right? Odd number of negatives, negative. Even number of negatives, positive. You guys see that rule? Okay, ready? Stay with me here, please. Negative times a negative times a negative times a negative. Oops. Times a negative. Oh, I keep wanting to write 1. This is hard to do. All right. Somebody, help me out. Wait, what numbers are they? I don't know what you're saying. Okay, who can give me the sign of the product? Okay, on the count of 3, you just say it out loud, and I hope we're all in unison. 1, 2, 3.
Negative.
Why negative? Somebody tell me right now, Parker.
Because 4 is positive and it's 9, so 4, positive, and then plus negative.
How many factors did I have?
9.
9. They're all negatives, so it'd be negative. You guys okay with that? How many of you understand what we mean by negative factors and then how it determines a sign? Okay, ready? I'm going to give you the ultimate problem. Actually, second to the ultimate. Okay, can I do this?
I have to write this.
Uh-oh. Wait, did I write that correctly? Okay. Okay, so I'm looking at this, I'm like, I have no idea. All right, I'm gonna have you do it again on the count of 3. I want to hear it. Okay, yeah. So on the count of 3, right? I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, and then you give me your answer. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Negative.
Ooh, I heard both.
Negative.
All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's negative. Okay, the whole point of this is to say, did I even look at the positive signs? Nope. I just saw how many negative factors I had, and that determines the sign of the product. It's got to be negative. Okay? I remember when I was taking Algebra 1, they would give me problems that say, all right, if you have this many factors, blah are negative, blah positive, what's the sign of the product? Let me give you that. This is the ultimate problem. Ready? I have a product of 50 negatives and 150 positives. What's the sign?
Positive.
Positive. Why?
Because positives are negative.
You have an even amount of negatives. It doesn't matter how many positives. It does not matter. Yes, ma'am.
Is it the opposite with positives? Is usually real like that? Like would the odd number be positive? Is it usually negative?
What's cool about positives? So, like, what if you have 2 positives? What are you going to get? Positive. Right? 3 positives. Positive. So positive, if you have only positives being multiplied, it's positive. But if you throw in any negatives, that does change the sign. So what determines the sign of a product? The positives or the negatives? Negatives. So you got to pay attention to those. Okay, what I want you guys to do is work out number on page 102. I want you to work out numbers, tough ones or easy ones? What do you think?
Both.
Oh, okay, good. I like that. Both. Okay, I'll give you an easy one, number 11, and then I'll give you a tough one, number 13. So do 11, then 13, and then I'll ask you in just a moment.
Do you have his book pack or backpack?
Is that his?
Yeah,
Yes.
The Peter's right here. He's doing okay. I think he's going to go home. His
Oh.
leg's kind of hurting.
Thank you. Sorry about the wait.
You're good.
Okay. I want a specific answer. It has to have this. Hint, 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 hint. Okay. Number 11. Let's see here. Number 11. Scout, what'd you get for number 11?
T equals negative 27.
Good. T equals negative 27. How many got that? T equals negative 27. Mr. I got negative 27. Is that okay? T equals negative 27. Ah, you're almost done. You're almost there. Number 13. All right, number 13. Let me call on randomly Jake. Oh, man. Okay. I'll give you a few moments to get that one, Jake. And then I'll have Sarah verify it. So I'll give him a chance, and you say yes or no to his answer. All right, so you should be working on number 13 if you haven't already done it. All right, Jake, just let me know when you're done with that one, and I'll ask you for the answer. Oh my, why did I give you 13? What do you think, Sarah?
Equals V.
I got 360.
Okay, V equals negative 320. This is how I did it. Maybe you did differently, but this is how I would have done it. I did 8 times 4. What's that? 32. And what's 32 times 10? 320. Is it positive or negative? I have 2 positives and only 1 negative. The negative determines the sign, so it's negative 320 equals V. How many of you got negative 320 equals V for number 13? Okay. How many of you, if you didn't get it, now you know why? How many of you didn't get it and don't know what happened? How many of you didn't answer? Okay. Now we covered everyone. And you can ask me a question if you like toward the end. Okay. 2 more examples and then we're done. Example number 4. This one's very similar to the ones we've already done. It's really not that difficult. It just says evaluate 2AB. 2AB if A equals something and B equals something. In this case, A equals negative 3 and B equals negative 2. Okay, so all I have to do now is substitute what A and B are into this expression. So it's 2 times negative 3 times negative 2. Okay. My product is going to be what?
Positive.
Good, positive. Because?
Even number of odds or negative.
Good, even number of negatives being multiplied together. So it's going to be positive. And then I did 2 times 3 times 2. Some of you may have done 2 times 2 times 3, but does it matter which way you do it? As long as you do it correctly, you should get positive 12. Positive 12. Yes, ma'am?
This is probably a stupid question, but why wouldn't it be 12AB?
Good question. The reason is we know what A is right here, and we know what B is, so now we're multiplying out to get the final value. Yep. If it didn't tell you what A and B are, you should have them in there somewhere. All right, everyone good on these? These are pretty straightforward. They're the same, just substituting. Example 5 is the last one. This is where people get tripped up. Read me the problem, somebody. Someone read me example 5 out loud, Davis.
Find the product of negative 3 and 8.
Okay, find the product. What does the word product refer to? Multiply. So multiply negative 3 and 8m. Whoa! Put the brakes on, guys. Remember when we learned with adding and subtracting? Can you add unlike terms? No. Can you subtract unlike terms? Can you multiply unlike terms? Okay, yeah, you can do the associative property. These 3 are being multiplied, so you can really multiply the negative 3 and 8. But before we get there, is this going to be positive or negative? Negative. But Mr. I have a positive in parentheses. It's the whole thing about multiplication. All right. Then you just do 3 times 8, which is, so negative 24, and then keep that variable, negative 24m. That's all it's asking for. Yes, ma'am? Perfect.
So, for if you know if it's negative or positive, it's always the letter the number that's least.
Oh, so if it's positive or negative, determined by the lesser number?
So, how do you know if it's negative or positive?
Great question. If you're multiplying, which I am, right, then you have to see, do they have the same sign or different signs? So what do they have? Different, it's automatically negative. You don't even have to look at the absolute values anymore for multiplying. Adding and subtracting, you do. All right, these are the last problems I'll give you. If you get them right, you're good. You can go, I'll write the homework on the board. You can start that off. On page 102, number 17 and 18. Just do number 17 and 18. If you can do those problems, you should be ready to go. I'll write the homework on the board. You can get started if you're done. I'll check you all in just a couple minutes.
show it to you when I'm finished?
No, I'll ask, or I'll give the answer in just a few moments. So you can just keep going into your homework once you get those problems sent, and then I'll check you to make sure you guys are set.
Okay.
Okay, number 17. I want a good answer for this one. All right, Cole.
Negative 40x.
Negative 40x. How many of you got that answer? Negative 40x is correct. All right, for number 18. Murphy, what'd you get?
I got 12y.
12y is correct. Did you guys get that?
Yep. I got negative.
Yeah, so I have negative 4 times negative 3y. So if same signs, give me positive. There you go. Does that make sense? Okay, good. All right, there's your homework up there. You can go ahead and start working on it. I'm going to turn off the Swivl here.